He was called a genius, a polymath, and even a man centuries ahead of his time. But what if I told you that Leonardo da Vinci, the master behind the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, hid secrets in his works, dreamed of flying machines, and left behind an unsolved mystery? From abandoned projects to groundbreaking discoveries, this is the untold story of the man who saw the future. Welcome to Leonardo da Vinci, Exposed. 1. The Higgiu beginnings. Born on April 15, 1452, in Vinci, Italy, Leonardo was the illegitimate son of a notary and a peasant woman. Despite his birth status, his artistic talent was undeniable from a young age. He received little formal education, but was trained in the workshop of the master artist Andrea del Verrocchio. Here, he learned painting, sculpture, and engineering, skills that would later make him one of the most influential figures in history. His curiosity extended beyond art. He was fascinated by nature, machinery, and human anatomy. Unlike most children of his time, Leonardo had a unique ability to observe and record the world around him in astonishing detail. 2. The APP years. During his apprenticeship in Florence, Leonardo absorbed knowledge like a sponge. He worked on sculptures and paintings, often assisting Verrocchio in major projects. Legend has it that when Leonardo painted an angel in Verrocchio's Baptism of Christ, his work was so superior that his master supposedly vowed never to paint again. This period marked the beginning of Leonardo's artistic revolution. He studied anatomy by dissecting animals and sometimes even human corpses, improving his understanding of muscle structures. His sketches from this time showcased extraordinary detail, foreshadowing his future studies. Leonardo also became fascinated with perspective, experimenting with new techniques that would later define Renaissance art. He did not limit himself to painting. He explored architecture, hydrodynamics, and mechanics. 3. The Florentine genius. By the 1470s, Leonardo had established himself as an independent artist in Florence. His fascination with anatomy led him to dissect human bodies in secret, making detailed sketches that were centuries ahead of medical science. He started experimenting with light, shadow, and perspective, techniques that would define Renaissance art. His painting techniques, such as sfumato, blurring lines for a more realistic effect, became legendary. He also explored the movement of water, documenting how it flowed and interacted with objects. Leonardo's reputation grew as he took commissions for portraits, religious paintings, and engineering projects. However, his unorthodox methods sometimes frustrated his patrons, as he often abandoned paintings midway to pursue other interests. 4. Milan and Taa Elest su Piper. Leonardo moved to Milan in 1482 under the patronage of Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. It was here that he painted one of the most famous artworks in history, The Last Supper. This masterpiece, depicting the moment Jesus reveals his betrayal, is full of hidden symbolism and mathematical precision. But did you know it started deteriorating just years after completion due to Leonardo's experimental technique? His use of a dry fresco method, rather than the traditional wet fresco, led to rapid decay. Over the centuries, numerous restoration efforts have attempted to preserve the painting, though much of the original work has been lost. The artwork is also filled with cryptic details. Some believe Leonardo encoded secret messages within it. 5. The Inventor of his time. Leonardo was not just an artist, he was a visionary inventor. His notebooks contain designs for tanks, helicopters, and even a robotic knight. Many of his ideas were impossible to build with the technology of his time, but modern engineers have confirmed their feasibility. His obsession with flight led him to sketch early prototypes of parachutes and flying machines, inspired by the anatomy of birds. He also conceptualized scuba diving gear, recognizing the potential of underwater exploration centuries before it became possible. Leonardo's fascination with mechanics led him to design an intricate system of gears, pulleys, and levers that were ahead of his era. 6. The Manoisteri of the Mona Lisa. Perhaps the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa remains an enigma. Who was the woman behind the mysterious smile? Some believe she was Lisa Gherardini, the wife of a Florentine merchant, while others think the portrait contains hidden self-representations. Leonardo worked on this masterpiece for years, constantly refining its details, yet he never delivered it to the patron who commissioned it. The painting's sfumato technique, which blends colors and tones seamlessly, adds to its ethereal quality. Some researchers believe Leonardo incorporated hidden symbols within the portrait, including possible connections to the Fibonacci sequence. The Mona Lisa's gaze seems to follow the viewer, a phenomenon attributed to Leonardo's mastery of perspective. 7. Anatomy and human studies. Leonardo's dissections of human corpses led to astonishingly accurate anatomical sketches. He documented muscles, bones, and even internal organs with an artistic precision that modern medical illustrations still reference. His studies on proportion led to the iconic Vitruvian Man, a symbol of the perfect human form based on ancient Roman principles. He sketched the circulatory system, mapping the heart and veins with surprising accuracy. Leonardo also studied the mechanics of facial expressions, exploring how emotions are reflected in muscle movements. His anatomical drawings include some of the first depictions of a fetus in the womb. Despite his advanced knowledge, much of his research remained unpublished and was lost for centuries. Had his medical discoveries been widely known at the time, they could have accelerated the field of anatomy by hundreds of years. 8. The Codex Lost Ninolige. Leonardo filled thousands of pages with inventions, observations, and theories. These notes, known as his codices, contained ideas that were centuries ahead of their time, including solar power, hydraulics, and automation. Many of his notebooks were lost or scattered, but those that remain offer a glimpse into his unparalleled mind. His Codex Leicester, for instance, contains theories on the movement of water that are now used in modern hydrodynamics. Some of his writings are written in mirror script, a technique he used to prevent prying eyes from deciphering his thoughts. The Codex Madrid, discovered centuries after his death, revealed hidden designs for gears and mechanical devices that would later influence industrial engineering. Some believe that even more of Leonardo's notes remain undiscovered, hidden in private collections or forgotten archives. His codices serve as a testament to his insatiable curiosity, covering topics as diverse as fossils, astronomy, and human anatomy. Today, scholars continue to study his writings, trying to decode the full extent of his genius. 9. War Machines and Strateg. Though a man of science and art, Leonardo also worked as a military engineer. He designed fortifications, bridges, and weapons, including an early concept of a machine gun. Despite his interest in war technology, he was deeply troubled by human conflict and often spoke about the horrors of war. His designs included an armored vehicle, an early prototype of the modern tank, which he envisioned rolling onto battlefields centuries before its time. He also sketched massive crossbows, automatic cannons, and even a system for underwater assault. While many of these war machines were never built, they demonstrated his unparalleled ability to anticipate future warfare. Leonardo's fortification designs were so advanced that military architects used similar principles for centuries. His work in this field was paradoxical. While he designed destructive machines, his personal writings suggest he despised violence and sought peaceful solutions whenever possible. In the end, his military inventions were more theoretical than practical, but they remain fascinating examples of his inventive genius. 10. Leonardo's unfinished masterpieces. Leonardo was notorious for leaving projects unfinished. From grand sculptures to massive paintings, many of his works were abandoned due to perfectionism, lack of funds, or political changes. His ambitious plans for a massive bronze horse for the Duke of Milan never materialized, but modern sculptors later completed it based on his designs. Another unfinished masterpiece was the Adoration of the Magi, which, despite being incomplete, showcased his groundbreaking use of perspective and movement. His Battle of Anghiari mural, meant to be a grand depiction of war, was left incomplete due to experimental painting techniques that failed over time. Some speculate that Leonardo's tendency to abandon projects stemmed from his ever-curious mind. He was always drawn to new ideas rather than finishing old ones. Despite this, even his unfinished works are considered masterpieces, influencing countless artists who came after him. Modern restoration efforts and digital reconstructions have attempted to visualize what these lost works might have looked like. His unfinished creations remain some of the greatest what-ifs in art history. 11. Return to Florence and political turmoil. After Milan fell to the French, Leonardo returned to Florence, where he crossed paths with Niccolo Machiavelli and Michelangelo. He worked on engineering projects and even planned a massive city design with improved sanitation and infrastructure, ideas that foreshadowed modern urban planning. His return to Florence also marked a period of fierce artistic rivalry with Michelangelo, who was creating his legendary sculpture of David at the time. Leonardo proposed innovative waterway projects to the Florentine government, attempting to control the flow of the Arno River for trade and flood prevention. His anatomical studies continued during this period, leading to some of his most detailed sketches of the human body. He also started working on the famous painting of Street John the Baptist, which is noted for its mysterious expression and unconventional pose. Political instability in Florence disrupted many of his plans, forcing him to move frequently between different cities. Despite these challenges, he remained one of the most sought-after intellectuals of his time. 12. The Roman years. Leonardo spent his later years in Rome under the patronage of the Medici family. Though he was respected, he was often overshadowed by younger artists like Raphael and Michelangelo. Still, he continued his scientific studies and mechanical innovations. His time in Rome was marked by his work on architectural projects and experiments with optical illusions. He studied the effects of light on objects, a fascination that contributed to his advancements in painting techniques. He also focused on hydraulic engineering, designing systems for fountains and water supply. However, the political climate in Rome made it difficult for Leonardo to secure major commissions, and he often felt isolated. Despite this, he remained dedicated to exploring the mysteries of nature, spending hours dissecting plants and animals. His final years in Rome were productive, though they lacked the grandeur of his earlier triumphs. 13. Final years in France. In 1516, Leonardo moved to France under the invitation of King Francis I. He was given a chateau and the title of premier painter and engineer of the king. He continued working until his death on May 2, 1519, leaving behind a legacy unmatched in history. His relationship with the French king was one of mutual admiration. Francis, I considered Leonardo a close friend and often sought his counsel. During this period, Leonardo focused on refining his scientific theories and compiling his vast collection of notes. He brought the Mona Lisa with him to France, where it eventually became part of the royal collection. His declining health limited his artistic output, but he continued sketching and theorizing until his final days. His funeral was attended by many dignitaries, cementing his status as one of history's greatest minds. Today, Leonardo's influence in France remains strong, with his works displayed in some of the most prestigious museums. 14. The legacy of a Renaissance man. Leonardo's influence is everywhere from art and engineering to anatomy and astronomy. His ideas shaped the Renaissance and continue to inspire scientists, artists, and thinkers today. His contributions extended beyond his time, laying the groundwork for disciplines such as biomechanics, hydraulics, and robotics. The Vitruvian Man remains a universal symbol of human proportion and symmetry, demonstrating his deep understanding of both art and science. His innovative techniques in painting, including sfumato and chiaroscuro, revolutionized artistic expression. His notes and sketches influenced not only his contemporaries, but also modern scientific advancements. Many of his engineering concepts, like the armored vehicle, were precursors to modern technology. Leonardo's impact extends into pop culture, with his works frequently referenced in literature, films, and media. His boundless curiosity and multidisciplinary genius embody the true essence of a Renaissance man, making his legacy eternal. 15. Un seul vide mystères of Da Vinci. Despite his immense contributions, many mysteries remain. Where are some of his lost works? What secrets are hidden in his paintings? Was he truly ahead of his time, or was he a messenger from the future? The intrigue surrounding Leonardo da Vinci ensures that his legacy will never fade. Some believe his paintings contain hidden codes and messages, fueling conspiracy theories and secret societies. The Mona Lisa's smile remains one of the greatest enigmas in art history, sparking endless interpretations. His lost painting, The Battle of Anghiari, is said to be hidden beneath another fresco in Florence's Palazzo Vecchio. His mirror writing technique has led some to speculate whether he was protecting his knowledge from prying eyes. The true purpose of some of his inventions, such as his intricate mechanical devices, is still debated by historians. Did Leonardo possess knowledge far beyond his era, or was he simply a man with an insatiable curiosity? The unanswered questions surrounding his life continue to captivate scholars and enthusiasts worldwide. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just a painter, he was a visionary who defied the limits of art and science. His genius continues to shape the world we live in today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the life of the ultimate Renaissance man, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible stories.